Afternoon, ladies and gents. My name's Ian Anderson, and it's always difficult when you come from a grammar school to say and admit you're from a grammar school, but I've been teaching a grammar school for 7 years now. We use Google Documents, and today I'm hoping just to show you a range of different ways that over the past 2 or 3 months that I've used it with a group. It's not polished. In no way is it the only way we teach, but it has added a different dimension for sure. Like any bit of technology, you've got to train the kids up. You've got to get their workflow right. And we do spend a bit of time on that. And the great thing about Google Documents, and some of you will be aware, is that you can share documents and they're stored on the cloud. So it's from any device. And that's very much part of our philosophy. Our philosophy is we're not interested in what the hardware is, we're interested in the learning and what the software will allow us to do with the learning. We've actually started a bring your own device policy. We're starting with sixth form. We've got our infrastructure in place and we're going from there. Eventually, maybe one-to-one, but Google Documents is pivotal to allow us to share. Some of you will come across Dropbox. Well, it works just the same as Dropbox does. You can share folders, you can share documents. You can upload files that are native files, so you'd have to download them to use them. And that's just like any of these cloud solutions, but this is where Google Documents and Google Apps for Education takes on another dimension. Because not only can I upload it, I can convert it, we can share it, and we can collaborate with it. Here's an example from 13th to the 12th. It appears I've got some 7th of January. This is students sharing documents with me. This is some home learning, just to show you that actually they all come in, they're shared with me. I have an inbox. I look at the workflow. I can see who, where, when. I can see if it's been edited. I can see if I've edited it or I've worked with it. Like anything, workflow you have to work towards. Getting students engaged in this takes time, like any technology. So every session, I do have to spend a bit of time on housekeeping, a minute or two, part of a routine. Everything, technology or not, requires routines in the classroom. And very much what I'm hoping you get from today is that the technology isn't the learning, the technology supports the learning. You can help yourself, you can color code folders, which you can't do in other cloud solutions. You can organize it as you wish. But I think the key for me is the fact that Google's searching capacity and engine allows me just to search, and I'll get a snapshot of the main page and I can quickly find things. So in this view, as you can see, I can quickly see what the presentation was. I can quickly see if it was a spreadsheet we were working on. I can quickly see if it's a word process document we were collaborating on. I can quickly see any file type that I wish. And I let the searching do the hard work. In this case, this student was called Luz, that's his surname, and I searched for his documents and his files. Some of you have VLE solutions, some of you will have learning platforms. We started with a learning platform called Moodle 7 years ago. It would be true to say we don't use a learning platform anymore. We use documents as we need them, when we need them. Sometimes you want students to work themselves on tasks. You would like them to take ownership. So I just set up a simple spreadsheet that's shared with these students to allow them to edit it. And I asked them over about 2 or 3 weeks to start building up what they would like us to use in the classroom. So in a way, a student voice. Left them alone, occasionally dipped in, occasionally sent them an email, and said, you tell me what you think will work for you, and you build up that database for us that we want to use for you. Good extension task, used with the gifted and talented. Good extension task in terms of home learning. Fairly recently, I've realized that collaboration doesn't have to happen within a school. This is actually Simon Horton's primary database of iPad apps. Yes, we use iPads as well. Google Documents is multi-platform now. He shared it out on the web. I keep an eye on it. As he adds things, I keep an eye on it. I look at it because of transition from primary to see what people are up to, but also as a primary school governor. Just keeps me in the loop. This is his work, and this is the work of other people, and we're all collaborating together as professionals. Well, we're moving our staff slowly towards it. This is an options booklet, one single entry point to edit, to update, and to publish. We can see who's involved in it, we can see when, we can actually see what people are changing. We can move backward and forward between different versions. we can decide to choose a different version, we have total ownership and control, and we have no more paper. Clearly, when you share, you've got to think about how you're going to publish. You could publish straight to the web. You could decide to wait to release your publishing, so documents link straight to our website. There's no uploading, there's no maintenance, they're there. Searching is key. You can see in this case, I'm searching using keywords. It uses all the normal searching that you would expect in a search engine, and it does all the work for you. I make no apology for a number of things I'm about to talk about. I work in a grammar school. We're trying to push students up to the highest grades. We want them to go beyond expecting to be spoon-fed. We want them to go beyond expecting to be told what to do every time. A number of these tools I'm about to show you, I could do in the classroom, and I have done in the past. But I want to free up my classroom space for learning, not for collating. This is just an example where I asked the students to identify what they thought they were weakest, moderate, or strong on before we started doing revision sessions. I asked them to reflect on the topic areas and to fill in this in their own time. And it worked, because they actually started to play off each other, and straight away I can identify those topics that I need to spend longer time on. There's been no input from me, it's been driven by them. Again, in sharing task during construction, I asked them to review what I asked them to do over a Christmas period. You can't get kids to do anything outside lesson time most of the time. But if you're going to do something outside in a Christmas period, use technology. And with the technology, the topic is about technology. And I asked them that we would decide what we decide the assignment would be, and we'd co-construct it. We then looked at the criteria. I'm in secondary school. Results matter. We can't get away from the business end. So I gave them the criterion reference at the bottom end, and we co-constructed the other two areas with them editing together, clearly with teacher guidance. I then asked them to look at all the mark schemes and choose what they considered to be the two best questions that they could answer, the questions that best allowed them to express their knowledge. One had to be criterion-based, one had to be pure point-based. Again, I started with an easier topic area to get them used to it. But of course, if they are creating documents, then you can feedback during the editing phase. In this case, it was a presentation that a particular student was creating. And notice that I've allowed them to comment only, which is the top left-hand side. I could be allowed to edit it, I could be allowed to view it, or comment. The feedback's simple. You select what you want to feedback on and you give your feedback. The student can then respond to that feedback. They have to resolve that feedback. You engage them in the process. Sometimes it's a question. For example, highlighting where I would like the example. Normal teaching and learning, ladies and gents, with all the buzzwords. Sometimes it's reinforcement. Connectives are difficult with any kids in criterion questions, let alone weaker students. Sometimes it's reinforcement. All the normal strategies we use day to day, but quickly done, anytime, anywhere, anytime, anywhere, timely. And that's the key. Marking happens as it comes to me. It's a whole change in workflow. They don't stack up the books, they get the feedback, not instantaneously, but fairly quickly. The difference, therefore, is they want and demand more feedback. Questioning and expectation of reflection as part of the process can be generated, as in any classroom. So, I'm getting them collaborating. I would like to do some past paper questions. We're at the business end again. I want to be able to identify those students and what they've done. So simply, I can ask them to highlight their name. Or I can quickly look at the revision history and see who's done what, where and when, and what they did. I make it clear to them that I'm doing this process, that there is accountability as well as engagement. Of course, you need to hand ownership over. So when doing presentations, allow them to comment as a team, where they take the ownership. Who's going to do this slide? Who's going to do that slide? Who's going to look at this topic area? Creating that sense of ownership is crucial if you're going to collaborate with documents. And then the boring part, marking. Well, I could have put it on a piece of paper. I actually got them to mark their own. I didn't share my grades per question until they had done. As it came in, you'll notice there are still some gaps. There's a sense of if I get it in, I get my feedback. But feedback's useless unless you get them to set their own targets. This document's online. It's not taking valuable teaching time. If we use any buzzwords, is this an assessment flip model? Perhaps. To me, it's just teaching, using the time I can in the classroom and using the time outside the classroom on the things that can be done outside the classroom. It was simple. I hid the sheet and just copied it across. It's possible to transfer ownership of documents. You've started a task, someone's got some good ideas. Well, I want you to write this task for me, 2 or 3 of you. I want you to decide how we should go about this task and this learning. Obviously, with the more able, but perhaps you could mixed ability group it, and you could look for collaborative work, which happens outside the Google document environment as well as within. Different parts of Google Documents have different interactive mechanisms. I can't comment currently, and I have to say the updating is fast on specific bits of text in a presentation. It's per text box, but I can still comment. I can still expect resolution, and I can see if it's been resolved, as you can see with the tick. I can decide how I find out if they've finished the task, what they've edited on the task. Do I get my notification to my email? Do I decide not to? Do I expect for them to comment? Do I get notification when they've commented or when they've completed? In the end, it's all about trying to engage that learning that we used to do in the classroom and utilizing time outside so I can use the time in the classroom on the things that really matter. And in our case, moving those students away from the DCs to the Bs and the Bs to the A stars. Thank you.